principal. You were at the high school, then you moved to the elementary. How many years now? You had to double check.
I had to double check, but I confirmed it's been 4. This is the fourth year at Jefferson. So
now, are you all acclimated to elementary students?
Yeah, yes, I definitely fully acclimated to elementary students. But before I was at the high school, I was a 5th grade teacher, so I kind of had the elementary background in me a little bit. So
you kind of knew. I've heard other principals talk about the difference between principal at an elementary, middle school, and high school level. Each level has its own benefits and pros and cons.
Yes.
In dealing with kids and how you have to deal with them. So, you've been at the high school and you taught elementary. In synopsis, what is there a difference? Or is kids?
I always just go back to kids are kids. And kids just need to feel seen and heard and loved, but also adults too, right? It doesn't matter the adults at the high school or at elementary school. Those are all still pretty true factors. So if you meet the kids where they're at, sometimes it's a little more emotional maybe at the elementary school than at the high school. But it's so important to meet the kids where they're at, and just treat them like your own.
You mentioned that too. This wasn't on your list, but you mentioned kids. Also, the principal, I'll make the leap of assumption, you have to deal with the staff as well. We talk about the kids, but you're dealing with, as a principal, you have to deal with both sides, the staff and the kids.
Sure.
Dealing with the staff, is that different too at each level?
I just feel like it doesn't matter where I've been at. All staff want the kids to be successful, right? And we all have the ideas on how to get there with them. And the interesting thing is that people just come at it from different angles. Just like I think a high school principal comes at an elementary principalship a little bit different, and so does an elementary principal go to the high school principalship a little bit different. There's some things you have to learn for sure, and I'm still learning, even though I got to probably quit using that. But no, the staffs are absolutely amazing for sure.
In Clinton, we have the 4 elementary schools. Do all the principals kind of work together on a lot of stuff, or are you kind of on an island and you're in your own building?
We definitely we have our own weekly or bi-weekly meetings. We have our own text threads, of course, too, because at the elementary level, you don't have associate principals to kind of run things through like you do at the middle and high school. So you are kind of on your own island in some regard, but then you also have the other 3 principals that kind of share the same, like, okay, hey, what do you think about this situation or that situation? And when you come to big decisions, you got to make sure everyone's on the same page for sure. So
I'll get in one of the topics you had on your list that I'm sure is every building, every level, every district in the country probably has this on their list, their to-do list, and that's parental involvement.
Yes, 100%.
How does that work? How important is it? What do you do at Jefferson?
Well, the more times parents, caregivers are in a building for positive things, right? But more positive things are going to happen for our kids too. So I think, and this was long established before I ever got to Jefferson, because the Jefferson culture has always been amazing about welcoming families in, and the staff has always done an amazing job with that. We have our Rise Up Family Fun Nights, where at least there's some event every month for parents to come in, and they need to see the staff in a different light other than just teacher, principal, secretary, custodian, whatever it is, as just people, So just on Tuesday night, it was a little cold, but we just had our family fun night to kind of wrap up the school year, and had about 300 people show up, outside to play games, food trucks with Dodgemount snow cones and the line food truck, a dunk tank, and bounce houses and those types of things too. And it was just a really fun night too, and just kind of celebrate the success that we've had at the school this year. And all of our buildings, all our elementary buildings, do those types of things too. And it's really important to have caregivers to come in and see that the school is really a community hub. It's not just the academics, but it's a community hub.
Is there a role for those who aren't parents, aren't caregivers, to help out in the school? Because that maybe there are people who are interested, but they don't have a kid there. They don't have a child attending school. Is there a role for those folks in the community?
100%. We will take volunteers. We do have that. We do have folks that come in and help read with kids and just sit and listen to them too. And it's just important too, because it's not just a one person job, one school job to get to help our kids. It really is our community for sure.
And we'll get to some kind of maybe school things, a couple other things on the list that we'll deal with as well. But you kind of mentioned summer school's out in how many days?
I heard it might be 7 or 6 or something along there. It's next Friday.
Friday.
It's next Friday. So
once school's out, is education over for the students,
Oh,
or do you hope they do some things over the summer?
yeah, school's always talks about academics, but the socialization is super important as well. So then it kind of reverses, right? In the summer, right? The kids get a lot of chance of socialization with their friends and family. But then sometimes the academic part does falter, even with myself and my own kids too. The whole idea is that if we can get kids to read 10 minutes a day, just 10 minutes a day in the summer, and not looking at their phone, right? And not just scrolling types of things, but pick up a physical book, a magazine, a newspaper, for 10 minutes and read it or have it read to them. That will help some of what they call summer slide. When they come back in the fall and kind of get everyone caught back up. So the summer reading is super important too. Like Clinton Public Library with their program, just to be able to get involved in that academic thing is going to be very important as well.
You mentioned the library says, and I haven't seen, I know they used to have, and I assume they probably do some specific kids reading kind of program.
Yep.
But they also have their reading challenge. Maybe
Yes.
Did you encourage your kids to maybe participate in the library's both of those kinds of things?
We encourage them to do absolutely anything that we feel will get them motivated to continue to read. So, and obviously when there's just some extrinsic motivation to do those types of things, then good things can actually happen too.
It mentioned that, and I'll throw this out there. And again, probably talk to the reading teachers, and they would maybe answer the better question, because I sound like reading anything says, what about, I know says our grandson, he's not a big reader, but
Sure.
he prefers to read things like graphic novels.
Yeah.
Is that, even anything they reading, he prefers that over books, and so whenever you got a book in your hand is okay.
It's always been my opinion, if a kid picks up a book and they're interested in it, then hey, that's something that they're doing it, and they're gonna gravitate towards to continue to do that. So a graphic novel, right? That used to be a thing. Oh, hey, don't get away from the graphic novels. But if a student is sitting there, obviously they're so visually appealing for kids, right? And those help tell a story. And if we as the caregivers can help, hey, what are you reading? Tell me about it, a little bit what you're reading, right? They have to explain it. Perfect. That's great.
What role do the teachers play in getting that encouragement? We talk about it sitting here in the studio.
Yeah.
You're not in the classroom. Do the teachers promote this as hard as you're talking here? Because they're the ones that the kids
that's
look up to
100%.
and listen to.
Yep.
Over the principal. I hate to say that, but
no, they should listen to the teachers more than they listen to me. That's for sure. So, no, our staff does an amazing job of promoting it, because we don't, throughout the school year, we don't give a lot of homework, but we do say you should be reading every night. So I do know that everyone deserves a little bit of a break going into the summer too, for sure. But they should be picking up those books for sure.
You mentioned summer, and one of the other issues is food insecurities, and Jefferson hosts the summer meal program.
Yeah.
And I know it's not if it's the same as they've had in the past. It's not a specific Jefferson program, but it's hosted at Jefferson.
Yep.
That's open.
Yep.
So obviously he says, tell us a bit about that program.
Yeah, and I love that that it's offered. Yeah, anyone can come in, right? So breakfast, I believe it's going to be 7:30 to 8:30, and then lunch is right about 11:30 to about 12:30. So that's one big thing too about when kids leave school, right? That they don't have that breakfast opportunity. They don't always have that lunch opportunity. So the fact that we're able to provide that is very important for our kids too, and it gets them back in the building, right? And so that it's something I love, and I enjoy going out there and talking to the kids and to the families that come on, because that building, believe it or not, does get a little quiet over summer, and you need some sort of interaction sometime too. So it's good to just kind of go out there and kind of talk with the kids and the families and see how they're doing.
You mentioned that it's not Jefferson, just for Jefferson kids. Now, is Jefferson the only school that hosts that this summer? Do you I know
Gosh,
Jeff,
I
you're
don't
from
want to
Jefferson,
misspeak, but I know Jefferson for
we'll,
sure.
We'll
so.
hear more about it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
The school usually gives us the details
Sure.
on that, but it's open to anybody,
Yeah.
whether they're Jefferson students or
Doesn't
not.
matter.
It's hosted at Jefferson.
Yep, parents come in. Yep.
Wherever they happen to
Yep.
be, because maybe their summer daycare, summer care is closer to Jefferson than it is
Yep.
Eagle Heights or something.
Yep,
But they
exactly.
can still come.
Yep, they can still come.
And you mentioned that. Is that also a good? You mentioned you get a chance to talk to the kids. Is that a good? You mentioned socialization. Maybe they see their friends.
Yep.
But also again, encourage that. You mentioned keep reading is a good chance to. You don't want to overdo the education part, maybe because it's lunch and breakfast. But
Yep.
you get a chance to plug that a little bit.
Oh, 100%. There's we have some staff.
Teachers aren't there, but
Teachers
you are.
usually aren't there, but we do our extended school year programs for some of our students too, and there might be some opportunities to let's get together and let's read a book here or there, and that definitely has happened. Like I'll give a shout out to Miss Lanham, one of our first grade teachers. She always comes in during one of those days towards the end of the program for her kids that she used to have, and sits and reads with them and has a nice little lunch with them during lunchtime. So the teachers are there. they're still there. They're pretty dedicated.
And those of you mentioned this, and I'm not sure where it's at. Of course, it's been one of the things that had been an issue of the Mr. DeLacy, the former superintendent out of West Golden, has promoted this to capturing a kid's heart efforts.
Sure,
is that still an effort? You mentioned teachers working with the students. Is that still I thought not on your list, but is that still an effort?
Yep, it's still on the list, and it's just about how you interact with kids, right? The social contract. Every teacher at Jefferson has their social contract up, and just remind students if they need a reminder. Hey, is this on our social contract? Is this how is this what we should be doing in our classroom? So it's definitely still a thing for sure.
We'll get back more with Jefferson Elementary Principal J.R. Kuch. We'll get back to some of the things on the list, but we kind of veer off once in a while. He brings us some good topics to talk about, but we'll get into our weather forecast. We'll also get into our state track meet report coming up here on KROS. Our local weather forecast brought to you by the Awesome Car Wash.
Happy Thursday. It is going to be another seasonably cool day today, as we will see highs in the mid to upper 60s. Likely not going to see as much sunshine as yesterday. Weak disturbances pushing through to bring in some shower chances west. Don't really see much of a rain chance for us, but we will see those clouds. I'm Storm Track 8 meteorologist Morgan Strackbein.
48 degrees and easterly winds in that 15 to 20 mile an hour range. Our local forecast brought to you by the Awesome Car Wash.
Awesome Car Wash in Clinton has everything to meet your car wash needs. They have 6 self-serve wash bays to minimize wait times, a touchless automatic open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and a tunnel wash open daily from 7:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. Awesome Car Wash is located across from Purina on Manufacturing Drive in Clinton. Stop in, check them out, and see why customers are saying,
"It's awesome, baby!"
We've been saying Gary Dedeman out of the state track meet with all of our updates, and the coverage at the state track meet is sponsored by our major sponsors from Zerkabah Home Appliances in downtown Clinton. May is Maytag month for Central State Bank. Strong roots for stronger communities, generation after generation. And Clinton Community College. Your next is now. Visit eicc.edu. We'll be hearing from KROS Sports Director Gary Dedeman after this from our River City sports sponsors.
The right sale at the right time at the right prices. It's the Memorial Day sale now at Clover Hills Appliance and Mattress Center. Get the lowest prices of the year on GE washers, dryers, refrigerators, ranges, and microwaves. Save on Speed Queen washers and dryers, recliners, and lift chairs. Plus, save big on Sealy and Tempur-Pedic mattresses. Hurry to Clover Hills Appliance and Mattress Center in Clinton and Sterling. With better prices and better service than the big box stores, you can't go wrong.
Good morning and welcome everyone to Drake Stadium in Des Moines. We are underway. Things got started at 9 a.m. The shuttle hurdle relay, the first event on the track. This is 1A and 4A in the morning session. We'll have 2A and 3A. They'll get underway in the afternoon. Field event underway right down in front of us. It's the boys' long jump. And in Class 1A, Keenan Kilberg of Bellevue, he'll be in the second flight. He had the 10th best distance coming into the state meet. The discus is underway for the girls. Aubrey Ferguson also in the second flight. He had the 8th best time, or not time, but distance rather, 126 feet, 7 inches. He PR'd in both the discus and the shot at the state qualifying meet. She'll be in the shot put field tomorrow. And a little bit later on this morning at 11:30, it'll be the girls' 4A high jump. Elle Lonergan, the Drake Relays champion, the River Queen. She went 5'7" in her state qualifier. She went 5'8" to win Drake. The first individual running event will be the 3,000-meter run. We'll have a couple of girls in this. In 1A, Tinley Busolo of Cal Wheat. And in 4A, Aubrey Rivers of the River Queens. And in the 3,200 for the boys in Class 1A, Mason Moore of Cal Wheat. Things underway. It is overcast. It is cool. A little bit of a breeze out of the east, but nothing that should really affect the runners whatsoever. For KROS Sports, Gary Dutterman reporting.
That's you trying to fix the plumbing yourself to save a few bucks. Doing things yourself doesn't always end well. The same goes for insurance. That's why Auto Owners works with local independent agents who tailor coverage to meet your needs and offer discounts for life, home, car, and business insurance. Because sometimes you need a professional to get the job done right. That's simple human sense.
Call 563-242-5432 to see Tim Hartsock, James Nye, and Jess Hartsock at Corvens Insurance.
Coverage from Des Moines, courtesy of Adcraft and Sully Sports. See them at their new location on the Mill Creek Parkway. Also by First Gateway Credit Union with 7 locations, including Clinton, Comanche, and DeWitt. And by Clinton Community College. Your next is now. Visit eicc.edu. Following the local athletes since 1941. KROS, FM 105.9 and AM 1340. We're in our FYI program talking with Jefferson Elementary School Principal J.R. Kuch, talking about some of the things going on at Jefferson, maybe some things going across the district. And one thing's on the list, school registration underway now. School hasn't even been, haven't even dismissed, J.R. Can you do registration for next year already?
That's right. Well, come on back. You haven't left yet, but come on back. So, no, it's just something that we've always talked about the past couple of years of like, hey, how do we accurately depict classroom numbers and building numbers? And the only way to do that is if you have the kids registered. So it just helps us so much that we opened it up already, and we've had a lot of people register. But it really does help as far as our planning over the summer for our teachers and for our class sizes. So yeah, it's open. It is open, and I definitely appreciate the turnout so far.
How important is that? You mentioned that. Is you like to get? I'm sure you have registrations. It's been done a number of different ways. Probably changes every year, but almost every year. But you mentioned getting the building counts and room counts and teachers assigned and what they're going to be doing and who's in what classroom. People may not think about that being as important, but you behind the scenes, you're the administrator.
Yeah.
Is that important for your job to get things organized?
Yeah, 100%. What we really want to do is we want every kid that lives in the Jefferson boundary or the Whittier boundary or the Eagle Heights boundary or the Bluff boundary to go to their school, right? And so if we don't have accurate numbers for class sizes, we only have so many teachers, right? And there might be some spots available for students at a different building. and we don't want to move kids if we don't have to. And so if we have the most accurate count, like this person is a Jefferson student, they didn't move, they registered, they're slotted for Jefferson, spectacular, they're going to come back to Jefferson. But we're just trying to fight the where we've had what we call admin transfers, where they have to go to a different building because we're out of space in our building. And if we know that stuff sooner, we can make some staffing decisions sooner, instead of August or whatever it has to be. So it just helps the whole entire process if people are registered earlier.
Of course, then it comes to that when you post who's in what classroom, what teacher they have.
Oh, yeah.
At least in the elementary level, they want to come find out if they're in the classroom with their friends or not.
Yep.
So that helps that process.
Yes. Yep. And well, actually, that part when we do the class posting the class, that doesn't come until August, until the very end.
But you have to have the number.
But we have to have the number ahead of time, 100%.
Yeah, so it makes it easier. You can start slotting them in. The earlier you get that, the better.
The better. Yes.
Okay. We mentioned a couple things that sent you a note. In fact, we just had some news stories on it this morning. One of the things that is being promoted, I think they passed some legislation, screen time, things like that. Is that much of a concern? Is that an issue in the elementary level here at Jefferson and the other elementary schools? I think they wanted to limit to an hour a day or something. That seemed like a long time, but is that going to change things, the way you do things? And it's a new law, so you're probably still learning, but
right.
How much was that an issue before?
Well, I tell you what, when kids go home and they either have their cell phone, the TV, the computer, their laptop, their iPad, whatever it is, right? And there's a bunch of just flashing lights. They come to school where it's required, right, to sit, listen, read, whatever it is, and those there's not as much stimuli, right, in a classroom. There shouldn't be as much. So if we're going to say there's going to limit on screen time, I'm all for it. I am all for it. Even with my own kids at home, we don't do a lot of screen time unless it's the weekend, unless Yankees are playing or something like that. But it's definitely important to kind of limit that screen time too, just because the interaction, just like this interaction that we're having today, it's important to have face-to-face interaction with people and not behind a screen. I
do know, again, I mentioned back maybe a number of years ago, says our grandson was starting elementary school, and there were some programs that were taught on the computer on the screen time. Yep. Does that count? I know, because he would come home and we had to figure out how to get logged in because he wanted to. These were activities that you could do at home, and he wanted to do those activities. He liked the curriculum that was being taught. I think it was on you'll probably remember, I think it was math with penguins or something that goes back. I don't know if they're still using it or not, but he loved that. Yeah. And he would come home and he wanted to do more of that. Yep.
And those types of things too. Educational, right? But there is still a limit. There should still be a limit because of the gamification. There's a lot about gamification in education, and kids go and play video games, and if we can make their education more like a video game, would they be more engaged? I could say yes, that they would be, but also kids, like our motto at Jefferson is, we can do hard things. Sometimes the hard thing is just listening and sitting and having a conversation and reading a book. And so I think the more that we kind of go back to just that a little bit, will be way more beneficial for our kids in the future.
I mentioned too that one of the things is activities. They want kids doing outdoor type activities, like for X number of minutes a day. I think elementary kids already get some of that anyway, so I'm not sure why they need to make it a law because there's recesses and all that kind of stuff. But they made it part of state law to get activities. Is that really an issue at elementary level?
Well, during the wintertime, when it's indoor recess, it makes it a little bit more difficult to get them out and kind of expend that energy. But yeah, there's always this growing body of research that indicates that the more movement kids have, the more regulated that they will be after, because they get that energy out, right? And so if you have a kid that's fidgeting in class, that needs to stand up, that wiggles on their seat like I do, right? the more that they can get up and kind of get moving, the better off they will be too. So I know one thing that we're doing across all the elementaries is that we've kind of aligned our schedules a little bit differently for next year, where they'll have probably 5 more minutes of recess next year than maybe their previous schools had. So even 5 minutes may not seem like a lot, but it's 5 more minutes than they had previous. And so if they don't have, PE, to kind of, I know Mr. Prince does an amazing job for us at Jefferson, and so do the other elementary PE teachers. But the fact that if they don't have PE that day, gosh, if we go back and look at the data, behavior data, like, do they have more behaviors on non-PE days because they didn't get a chance to go out and learn and be active?
One thing too I mentioned, since too, and this was a talk, and I haven't heard much about it. It was over the last few years, and there's a lot of people who think kids are missing out because they didn't know how to write and read cursive writing. and last as I went to school a long time ago where we had the banner along above the chalkboard with the cursive letters, the whole alphabet, capital and small letters all around above the chalkboard. I don't think they have that anymore. But
not too many of those are hanging out anymore.
But you got cursive writing is now a thing. You're supposed to teach.
And kind of the premise kind of goes back to like if a student can sign their name, and it's kind of where it's at. But if we did absolutely everything to fidelity, when we say we can cover anything, but to actually teach to make sure that they get it, it takes time, it takes effort, and to the level of expectations from what teachers are expected to do, because we expect teachers to do a lot, and that our school day would have to extend probably an hour, 2 hours to actually get everything in that's being asked of them from non-educators, and so. It's tough, but yeah, so that cursive handwriting is supposed to be intertwined in the things that we are doing throughout the school day.
Are you working at it? I mean, was it just 1 year? It was this current school year, the first year of that?
I believe so, yes. So, it's
still working on getting it.
Yeah, and so we just adopted a new, it's new this year, a new CKLA curriculum for reading, and that's in itself could take up to 2 hours for the younger grades, and then a little bit less for the upper grades too. And so you have that, and you have math, and you have required reading and math plans for kids that they have to get in as well. The day fills up pretty quickly.
As you moved into that principal's job, was following legislative mandates for curriculum something you really was that on your radar?
When I got my admin degree, it was kind of said, you keep your head on it, but that's why I'm so thankful to have Dr. Golden and Ms. Reeves too as our leaders in our district too, because they keep us up to date on those things that we definitely need to, because we're kind of stuck in the day to day, week to maybe a month ahead of things, but they really help us when it comes to those big mandates for sure.
Anything else you want to mention? Make sure we got everything covered. JR, any last message you want to about Jefferson, about education, about what?
You said last I could still be another couple hours, but no, just been very supportive. The staff has been awesome at Jefferson. Couldn't ask for a better group of people to work with every day and serve, and very fortunate. And if you're listening to this, your kids go to Jefferson, they're in a really good place, that's for sure.
Thanks to Jefferson Elementary Principal J.R. Kuch for coming in on our FYI program this morning on KROS.